Hey fam, you're welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for your love in the last video. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a simple overlap jacket with stylish sleeve. The highlight of this video is the sleeve. So let's just get started. I made use of crepe fabric. This crepe fabric has a little bit of structure and it's a little bit stretchy too. And these are the measurements I'll be needing. Back measurements, the bust round measurements, the waist round measurements, your shoulder to your chest line, your shoulder to your full length, your sleeve length measurements, and also your sleeve round measurements. So I went ahead to start to draft my back pattern. Now I'm going to be leaving a link in the description in case you don't know how to do that. That video will guide you well. But if you've been on this channel, then I think you should know how to do this by now. So first off, I made use of 17.5 inches for my length. Now, if you look at this place, my full length is 20 inches. But because I'm going to be adding another piece of fabric at the end of this jacket in form of a collar underneath, which is going to be around 2.5 width. I'm going to be making use of 17.5. Okay, so I for the length here I just added 0.5 so that I'll be able to join that with the collar underneath. So I went to my origin point and I imputed my shoulder measurement, which is 14 inches divided by 2. That gave me 7. From there, I inserted my shoulder to chest line measurement, which is 7.5. I also repeated my shoulder measurement on my chest line measurement in order for me to have a straight line, which I'm going to be using to create my armhole curve. I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I made use of 3 inches for my neck width and 1 inch for my neck depth, since this is the back block. I added 0.5 to my shoulder slope, to my shoulder measurement for seam allowance, and from that point, I indicated my midpoint on the remaining measurement on the line, and with this, I was able to create my armhole curve. So I added 1.5 inch as my seam allowance, then I imputed my shoulder to nipple measurement, my nipple to nipple measurement rather, on the chest line and on the waistline, as you can see. I'm going to be using this to create my dart point, and I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch dart allowance on both sides of the line. Also went ahead to impute my waist measurement divided by 4, added my 1 inch for that, and added 1.5 inches for seam allowance. After that, I went ahead to cut, and that is going to be all for our back block. So for the front block, I'm going to be making use of the back block to cut the front block. The front block is going to be having an overlap, so I added 2.5, okay, on the center front, as you can see, for my overlap extension. Now for the upper part, I'm going to be, okay, folding in my back center back. I'll be folding it a bit in order for me to reveal my neck width on the front block. Okay, look at the way I folded, then I marked my neck width on the front block, and I'm going to be connecting that point to my extension, my overlap extension, using a slant line. I hope you understand what I did here. If you do not, please do go back and try to watch what I did. So after that, every other part practically remains the same. And I just went ahead to cut the same armhole even for the front and the back. When I'm done joining together, I'm going to be reducing my front armhole by 0.5 inch. I'm going to be showing you that even in this video. So this is what my front is looking like after cutting. You can see the overlap, right? And this is how it's going to look like when I'm done joining. So I'm going to go ahead to indicate my dart point even on my front block. So to do this, it's very easy. All you need to do is to go ahead and fold your back block into 2 equal half, just like the way we drafted. Fold into 2 equal half and place this on your front block. Okay, fam. So I've just placed my back block on my front block, and this is what I have. You can see the extension, right? So I just went ahead to indicate my that point, and I'm going to be nudging on. I went ahead to nudge the back and the front block. So this is what the back is looking like. So I know where to start from, and for the front block, I know where to start from. So this is my back block. I'm going to be putting the wrong side on the table. And for the front block, I layered it doing I'm using the right side facing right side. I'm going to stitch the shoulder. I'm going to sew in my dart, and I'm going to be joining the sides together off camera. So I'm going to be showing you what this is going to look like when I'm done. So for my front darts, the length I used was 5 inches. So I'm going to be taking in the length as 5 inches for the front dart. So after taking in the dart and joining it at the shoulder and shaping it by the side, this is what the front is looking like. Okay, so you need a long piece of fabric for the collar. This is totally up to you. The width is totally up to you. But for me, the width I used was 5.5. So when I was done joining, I had around 2 points. I had around 2.5. So I'm going to be joining this from the center back, and ensure that your fabric, the strip you are cutting, the rectangle you are cutting is long enough to cover both end of your overlap in front. So when I'm done joining fam, and this is what it's looking like on the inside. If you have a serger at this point, I would advise you to take your time to overlock that part. So this is what it's looking like after joining the collar to the front. Okay. So now I'm also going to be joining that same piece on fold at the lower end. But before that, I went ahead to trim in my front armhole. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be trimming that, and this is what I had after trimming. So you can see that the back armhole and the front armhole is no longer equal. So for the lower end, I went ahead to cut a long strip of fabric too that is going to cover both ends, including the overlap, which is on the table as you can see, and I will be fixing that off camera. So this is what I'll just join it, very easy to join, and I'll be showing you the final look later. So for the sleeve, you need your basic sleeve to do this. Now the only difference between the sleeve and a basic sleeve is the round, like the wrist parts. You are going to be making use of an allowance that is comfortable for you. Okay, the allowance I used there for my sleeve round, I made use of 9 inches, and that 9 inches I took it through to the lower end. Now for this particular sleeve, it's a little bit tricky. If you want about 22 inches length, that means to that 22 inches length you are going to be adding an additional 11 inches. But I wanted a short sleeve, more like a three-quarter sleeve, so I made use of 22 inches. But if you want 22 inches itself, that means you are going to be making use of 33 inches. So you are going to divide your sleeve into two equal halves, as you can see me do. Then you are going to be marking 1 inch on both sides. Now unfold again. My sleeve round here, as you can see, is about 9 inches aside outside my seam allowance. So if you want yours, my original sleeve round should be 6 inch, but I added 3 inches extra for puffiness and volume. So this is totally up to you. So now I'm going to be marking that 1 inch from the midpoint, okay, of the sleeve. You're going to be marking that 1 inch on both sides. This particular part is really important, fam, so that you can have something accurate and it can follow the same sequence. So I went ahead to connect the marked points together to create a straight line. So I'll be repeating the same on the other side of the crease line too. So at the end of the day, what you're going to be having 3 lines, okay? So now the next thing we're going to do now is from the upper part, you are going to be dividing this you are going to be dividing with a width of 1.5. You can do 1 inch, you can do 0.7 inch. The wider it is, the less fuller it will be, and the lower it is, the more fuller it will be. But 1.5, I felt it was okay, and I really love the effect at the end of the day. So for me, I divided my lines by 1.5 inch. So you are going to be taking that division that you made with 1.5, ensure that it cut across the three lines. This is very important, fam. Anything you are doing here, it's really important. So after doing that, we're going to be creating slants. Now, after you make slants in the first box, the next box will be empty. You go to the next box, then the next box will be empty. So you leave one empty, you move to the other one, you leave one empty. Then on the other side, now this particular point that we make slants for for the other side, when you get to the opposite side, you are going to be leaving it empty. Then for the part that was left empty, you'll be creating another slant on the opposite side in the opposite direction. I hope you get what I'm saying. Please, if you don't get what I'm saying here, just focus on what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing, and I hope you will get it. So we are filling in the empty boxes on the opposite side with a slant line, which is in the opposite direction. It has to be in the opposite direction to get the final look, okay? So after doing this now, you're going to be needing your needle and your needle and your thread here. So first of all, I marked 0.5 because I'll be needing that to join my curve to this particular line. Then from the slant point, that end of the point we created the slant, you are going to be going through with your needle. Then you are going to be matching it up with the pointed end where the slant end. Then you are going to be joining these two together. You are going to be creating a knot, and you are going to be tightening that knot. Ensure that the knot you are creating is very tight. You might do this twice or thrice in order to ensure that it is fully secured. So after doing that, go ahead to cut, then move to the opposite side, knot your thread again, then pick it from the lower end. You can see the effect at the opposite side. Pick it from the lower end, then after inserting your needle on the lower end, now connect it to the upper end where the slant stop, then pull both ends together and ensure that you knot it properly, like twice or thrice again. So this is just the step you are going to be repeating till you get to the upper end. Now you want to take your time because this particular step is going to take your time and you want to do it very well. Now one of the things I notice is that if you don't know this particular step, if you don't tighten your knot properly, it can lose while wearing. And when it lose while wearing, it's not going to allow your sleeve to follow the normal sequence. It will be so obvious that something is out of shape here. So please take your time for this particular step. Okay, so I just went ahead to repeat the same procedure till I get to the top of the sleeve, and I'm going to be repeating for the second sleeve too. So fam, if you've watched to this point, I hope you are enjoying this video. I hope you are getting value. If yes, do well to subscribe, do well to share this video to your friends, and also don't forget to turn your notification bell so that when I post videos, you get to see them. And of course, the like button, it is very important so that YouTube can recommend my videos to other people too. Thank you so much, and thanks for the love so far. So far, this is what the final look is. This is the right side. You can see how it's looking. You can see that the sleeve is now looking shorter than before. That is why I said if you want 22 inches, you'll be using 33. If you want 11, you'll be using 22. So I'm going to go ahead, okay? We're going to be pleating the sides now. You can see in order for us to sew this sleeve well, you go ahead to pleat the sides, or you can create gathers. But for this, I'm going to be pleating the side. As you can see, I went with my pin to pleat this down first. And after pleating this down, I'm going to be joining it at both ends in order to ensure that my sleeve is properly secured. So this is my first and second sleeve. So this is the right side. Look at what the wrong side looks like on the inside. So everything is neat and clean. And I'm going to be joining it at the end with my 1-inch seam allowance. Okay, I'm also going to be adding curve at the end of my sleeve. Now this is optional. You can decide to just do your sleeve based on your arm round, your wrist round, but I'm going to be adding a cuff to my just to make it look more, formal because this is going to be a jacket for me. So this is what my sleeve look like after adding the curve and joining it at the side. So I'm going to go ahead to join this sleeve to my body, to my bodies rather. And after joining, I'm going to be making use of a press button. So I just added press button to that curve for the sleeve. And after doing that, I'm also going to be adding some press button to the lower end of my jacket. So at the lower end of my jacket, as you can see, I added the collar strip too. So this is what it's looking like. I went ahead to add this snap button. So in case I want it to be overlapped, I can easily button it. And in case I want to just wear it freely like that, it's just going to look like a form of design. So this is totally up to you. So I went ahead. You can choose to do this based on your measurements anywhere, but I just use the dart points as my help at this particular part. That's okay. So this is what the final look is giving me after wearing. So after when I remove the press button, the snap button rather, this is what it's looking like. It's just a simple jacket you can wear, while going out. What do you think? Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.